Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know, we like to take these deep dives into really specific, interesting topics. And today we're going to be talking about how to engineer high-performing organizations.
All right.
Something that I know all of you out there in the PEVC CXO world
Absolutely
really care about.
Yeah.
So we're going to be focusing today on Michelle Bressoni's Forge of Unicorns podcast.
Okay.
Specifically episode 45,
All right.
called The Dojos Ecosystem, the Engine of Evolution.
Interesting title.
Yeah, right? And he dives into this really, really fascinating case study about a remote development site that was on the verge of closure.
Wow.
Imagine that, right? Almost shuttered completely.
Yeah.
And yet somehow it became the organization's most advanced development center.
So like a real turnaround story about, how companies can evolve and thrive even when facing what seem to be like impossible challenges.
Yeah, it's really a story of hope for people who are maybe feeling a little bit stuck, right? What was the secret sauce? Was it just like another agile framework or some shiny new DevOps tools?
Well, and that's what makes this case study so interesting.
Okay.
It wasn't about these just surface level fixes, Bressoni really emphasizes that real transformation requires a really fundamental shift in behaviors and culture and in leadership dynamics. And he kind of paints a picture of this site, it was plagued by operational gridlock, drowning in maintenance work, struggling to deliver software efficiently.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and I think a lot of organizations can relate to this, feeling stuck, feeling behind the times.
Yeah, a lot of organizations out there listening, I'm sure, can relate to this. And it sounds like leadership had already kind of mentally checked out, right?
Yeah.
Shifting focus to these emerging markets.
Right.
The local team feeling abandoned, disengaged.
Yeah, exactly.
No wonder closure seemed inevitable at that point.
It really was a perfect storm of internal and external pressures, but instead of throwing in the towel, they decided to fight back and reinvent themselves.
I love it. So enter the Dojos ecosystem.
Okay.
Right? Which sounds like this very, very carefully crafted system for cultivating high performance.
Yeah.
What makes it so different from all the other frameworks and methodologies out there? There's a ton of them, right?
There are.
Yeah.
And I think what Bressoni is saying is that this isn't just a framework.
Okay.
This is a complete rewiring of the organizational DNA.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he outlines these two really important foundational pillars.
Right.
He talks about OKRs as the North Star.
Okay.
Providing that strategic alignment. And then the Dojos ecosystem itself, which acts as this kind of socially engineered environment designed to elevate what he calls socio-technical mastery.
Okay, so OKR's objectives and key results.
Right.
I think everyone listening probably knows what those are these days.
Yeah.
They make sense for alignment.
Yeah.
But socio-technical mastery.
Yeah.
What exactly is that? That sounds a little intimidating.
Well, it is a little bit of a mouthful, but it's a fancy way of saying that software development is a team sport. It's this symphony of different skills and disciplines all working in harmony.
Yeah.
You need the leadership, you need the agility, the product innovation, and the technical mastery all playing their part.
So it's not just about having a bunch of brilliant coders.
No.
It's about creating an environment where those coders can thrive and collaborate and innovate effectively.
Exactly. And that's where the Dojos ecosystem comes in.
Okay.
It's this network of interconnected macro habitats.
Okay.
Each one designed to foster certain skills and behaviors.
So let's break down these macro habitats a bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
First up, we have the SW Craftsmanship Dojo.
Right.
Which sounds, I guess, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, this one's really focused on building that top-notch software, cultivating what Bressoni calls first-class software quality.
Okay.
And he uses this really interesting example of a company called DeepSeek that was able to achieve these groundbreaking results despite having really limited resources. And their secret was combining this high-quality software engineering with a modern AI-centric DevOps infrastructure.
So even with the tight budget limited hardware, they were able to outperform competitors simply because they had great software.
Exactly. It really underscores this idea that in today's world, software-driven world quality can be a real differentiator.
Yeah, it's not just about the bells and whistles anymore.
Exactly.
All right, so next we have the Product Management Dojo.
Okay.
What's the focus there?
So in the AI era, Product management needs to be so much more dynamic and responsive than ever before. And this dojo is all about supercharging product discovery and design.
Okay.
It's about moving beyond just churning out features and really focusing on delivering products that adapt to user needs.
So it's a shift from a feature-centric mindset to a more user-centric one.
Exactly. It's about creating products that solve real problems and deliver tangible value, and ultimately that leads to faster iterations, smarter decisions, and a greater impact on business success.
So then we've got the Agility Dojo.
Yes.
I'm guessing this is about more than just implementing Scrum or something like that.
It is much more than that.
Okay.
So this dojo draws inspiration from the work of Scott Giacomucci, who advocates for a much more sophisticated approach to agility that incorporates elements of sociometrics.
Sociometrics.
Which is the quantitative study of social relationships.
Okay.
And even psychodrama.
Psychodrama. I'm intrigued but confused.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept.
How does that fit into software development?
It's about using simulations to really explore and refine team dynamics.
Interesting.
So it's a way to accelerate social evolution in a safe environment.
Oh, wow.
Help individuals develop the adaptability and collaborative skills needed to navigate those complex projects.
So instead of just learning agile methodologies in a classroom, they're actually practicing and refining those behaviors in a simulated environment.
Exactly.
That's a fascinating approach.
Yeah, it's a lot more engaging than traditional training methods.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally we have the Leadership Dojo.
Yes, the Leadership Dojo.
Does this involve martial arts too?
Not quite, but it does involve a shift in mindset.
Okay.
This dojo is all about aligning leadership styles with what's known as a generative culture.
Okay.
Which essentially means creating an environment where people feel empowered to contribute their ideas and take ownership.
So it's about moving away from that traditional top-down command and control style of leadership.
Exactly. In a generative culture, leaders act as facilitators and coaches, guiding their teams toward a shared vision, while also encouraging autonomy and innovation.
And how do OKRs fit into all of this?
Well, they act as the compass, right?
Yeah.
They provide this clear direction for the entire organization. They help leaders to evolve from task managers to role models who inspire their teams and drive cultural transformation.
It sounds like a lot of moving parts.
It does.
But also like a very holistic approach to building a high-performing organization.
Exactly.
But the question is, does it actually work?
That is the million-dollar question, and the answer is a resounding yes.
Oh, okay.
In the next part, we're going to delve into the incredible results they were able to achieve after implementing this Dojos ecosystem.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
You won't want to miss it.
All right, see you next time.
See you then. Let's dive into those results.
All right, lay it on me. What kind of impact did this Dojos ecosystem actually have?
Well, prepare to be impressed.
Okay.
Just 2 years after implementing the first piece, the SW Craftsmanship Dojo, the transformation was remarkable.
Oh.
Even PricewaterhouseCoopers, known for their rigorous standards, they took notice the results were so compelling that the board of directors actually went to see this new system in action.
That's quite an endorsement. But what were the specific outcomes? Give me the numbers.
All right, so first, they saw a dramatic reduction in development cycle times. They went from 2 quarters per release request down to just 1 month.
That's a 600% improvement.
Yeah.
You can only imagine how much that would streamline operations and boost a company's agility.
Absolutely. And it had this ripple effect throughout the entire organization.
Like what?
Developer engagement skyrocketed.
Wow.
What was once a struggling site plagued by disengagement and absenteeism became this vibrant hub of top talent. In fact, for the first time in the country's history, 5 engineers from this site were recognized globally as top performers.
Really?
And 2 were even nominated for the company's highest technical leadership award.
So not only did they become more efficient, but they also cultivated a culture where people felt valued and motivated to excel.
Yeah.
That's a powerful combination.
It really speaks to that holistic nature of the Dojos ecosystem,
Yeah.
It's not just about technical skills. It's about creating an environment where people can thrive and reach their full potential.
What about customer satisfaction? Did they see any improvements there?
Oh, absolutely. Their Net Promoter Score, or NPS, went from a dismal -26 to an impressive 64.
That's a complete turnaround.
Right.
They went from being in the danger zone to having customers who were actively recommending them.
It highlights that direct link between software quality and customer experience.
Yeah.
When your software is top-notch, your customers notice.
And I'm sure their investors notice, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Initially, some investors were considering divesting,
Oh, wow.
But after seeing these results, they not only increased funding, but also backed the model's global replication. And the company's stock surged over 300%.
Those are some seriously impressive results.
Right.
What I find most intriguing is why this approach worked so well when so many other change initiatives fail.
Right.
What's the secret sauce?
Well, Brissoni argues that most corporate change initiatives fail because they neglect the human element.
Okay.
They focus on processes and tools while overlooking the underlying social and behavioral dynamics that drive true transformation.
So it's like trying to upgrade a computer software without addressing the hardware limitations. It might look like you're making progress, but the underlying system is still holding you back.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
The Dojos ecosystem, on the other hand, takes this holistic approach, recognizing that people are at the heart of any successful organization.
Yeah.
It's about creating an environment where they can learn, grow, and evolve together.
And that's what transforms that barren landscape of mediocrity into a high-performance ecosystem.
Precisely. It's about moving beyond those superficial fixes and addressing the root causes of underperformance.
But how does it actually achieve that? What are the key principles that drive its success?
Well, first, it emphasizes measuring what truly matters.
Yeah.
It's not about vanity metrics. It's about tracking behavioral markers that indicate real progress. So, for example, instead of just measuring the number of lines of code written, they focus on things like code quality collaboration, customer feedback.
So it's about shifting the focus from outputs to outcomes, from simply doing things to doing them well.
Exactly. Another key principle is embedding learning directly into real-world execution. There's no training without application. So instead of sending people off to workshops that they quickly forget, they incorporate continuous learning into their daily work.
So it's like learning a new language by immersion rather than by memorizing vocabulary lists.
Yeah.
You learn by making mistakes and by constantly adapting.
Precisely. And they ditch the process dogma.
What do you mean?
Agility isn't about rigidly following a framework.
Okay.
It's about fostering adaptability and high-performance behaviors through human-centric coaching.
So it's about empowering people to think, critically solve problems creatively, and continuously improve their ways of working.
Right, and perhaps most importantly, there's a strong emphasis on executive and team alignment.
Okay.
Leaders don't just dictate changes from above. They evolve alongside their teams, leading by example and creating a shared vision for success.
It sounds like it creates a powerful sense of ownership and accountability throughout the organization.
It does. Everyone is invested in the success of the system because they've been a part of shaping it.
This is all very compelling. But Brissoni doesn't just present this as a way to create a happier, more productive workplace.
Right.
He argues that this approach is crucial for survival, especially in the age of AI.
That's right. He calls this AI's Sputnik moment.
Okay.
This wake-up call that's redefining the playing field for software-driven companies. And he uses a rather dramatic example to illustrate his point.
I'm all ears.
He brings up the recent release of DeepSeek R1.
DeepSeek R1?
Which sent shockwaves through the AI industry.
Wow.
DeepSeek, this relatively small company, managed to achieve cutting-edge performance at a fraction of the cost of its competitors, wiping billions off the valuations of giants like NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Meta.
Wait, so this little company came out of nowhere and disrupted $1 trillion market?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
It all boils down to software quality. DeepSeek demonstrated that with top-notch engineering, you can achieve incredible results even with limited resources.
Wow.
This is a stark reminder for any organization that's still clinging to outdated, inefficient software practices.
So what you're saying is that in the age of AI software, quality is no longer a nice-to-have, but a matter of survival.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the Dojos ecosystem.
Okay.
It's not just a feel-good framework. It's a strategic imperative for any organization that wants to thrive in this AI-driven economy.
This is getting pretty intense. So where do we go from here? What does this all mean for our listeners, especially those in the PEVCC XO space? Why did you choose to focus on this particular episode?
Well, remember our typical listener profile, right?
Yeah.
They're investors, executives, decision makers responsible for the success of entire companies.
Right.
Brissoni's message is a direct challenge to them.
Yeah.
He's essentially asking, Are your portfolio companies prepared for this new reality? Are they equipped to compete in a world where software quality is paramount?
That's a thought-provoking question. I'm assuming you have some insights on how they can answer that question and what they can do to prepare themselves for this AI-driven future.
I do, but let's save that discussion for the final part of our deep dive.
All right, so we're back and ready to really unpack all of this for our listeners, right? We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the brink of failure to market disruption.
Right.
All thanks to the power of software engineering.
It's pretty amazing.
So let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
What does this mean for those in the PE VCCXO world?
Right.
You hinted at some insights before the break.
I did. So let's bring it home to our listeners' world,
Okay.
You're dealing with portfolios, investments, decisions that shape the future of companies.
Yeah.
And I think the DeepSeek example is such a perfect illustration of this.
Uh-huh.
They managed to disrupt this trillion-dollar market precisely because they understood the strategic power of high-quality software.
It's a very compelling argument for paying attention to software engineering, even if you don't come from a technical background.
Absolutely.
But how can our listeners actually apply these insights?
Yeah.
They're not going to suddenly become coding experts.
Right, of course not. But they can start by asking the right questions.
Okay.
When evaluating an investment opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Don't just focus on the product or the market size.
Right.
Dig deeper into their approach to software development.
Okay.
What's their development culture like?
Yeah.
Do they prioritize quality? Do they have a system for continuous improvement, something like the Dojos Ecosystem?
So it's about looking beyond the surface and understanding the engine that drives a software-driven company.
Right.
Assessing their ability to adapt and evolve in this rapidly changing landscape.
Exactly. If a company is struggling with software quality, if their development processes are chaotic or outdated, that's a major red flag.
Right.
It suggests they're not equipped to compete in this AI-driven economy.
Think of it as a due diligence checklist for the digital age.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay. But what about companies you've already invested in?
Right.
What if they're not quite where they need to be in terms of software quality and agility?
Mm-hmm.
Is it too late?
It's never too late to improve.
That's good.
And that's where the Dojos ecosystem can be so valuable.
Okay.
It's a practical framework that can be implemented in any organization, regardless of their current state.
So you're suggesting that investors and executives can actively help their portfolio companies adopt this system?
Absolutely. Think of it as a value add, the way to guide them towards a path of sustainable success.
Okay.
You can bring in experts to help them implement the Dojos ecosystem.
Right.
Provide ongoing support and make sure that they're getting the most out of it.
It's like giving them a secret weapon, a blueprint for building a high-performing software organization.
Yeah.
In a way, you're helping them future-proof their business.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, it's not just about technical skills. It's about cultivating this culture of excellence, a mindset of continuous improvement, and a leadership style that empowers people to do their best work.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
I agree.
We've gone from the brink of closure to a billion-dollar market disruption.
It's amazing.
All thanks to the power of software engineering.
Yeah, it really is.
So for those of you listening out there, take a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
Are your organizations prepared for this new reality?
That's the question.
Do you have the systems and the culture in place to turn software into your biggest competitive advantage?
Right.
If not, now is the time to start.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.
Thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe to the Forge of Unicorns to stay up to date with our latest episodes.